Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to A Good Things Marriage Chats. I'm Tiara.
And I'm Adrian. I'm also looking at my angle. I'm just being silly. Welcome back to the chat room.
Welcome back, y'all.
Missed y'all. We had to take a break last week. You want to know why? Because we had our marriage retreat.
We did.
It was a success.
It was.
It was a success.
And was.
And was a success.
And was. Mm-hmm. It was
we
really
had fun.
Good.
We had fun, and we ain't gonna tell y'all what we did because you should have been there. But you should be there on the next one, and we'll give details when those start coming up. Okay.
But if you want just like a quick snip, get a little view, preview of what we did, you could check out our Instagram page if you're not following us already. And look at our reel that's showing our couples, and they had an amazing time. And a lot of them are posting their own reviews about how great of a time they had. So check out our socials.
Yes. We had a lot of learning.
We did.
Lot of learning. Y'all, we had some impromptu because I am gonna tell you this. We had an obstacle course.
Yeah.
And we planned an obstacle course, but because we wasn't on flat surface, we had to change that thing real quick.
We did.
But it ended up being perfect for what we needed.
It did.
So I'm like, I was excited about that. I really was.
Yeah.
What's the stuff? Yeah, because I feel like we done been on vacation.
Right.
I don't know. Look, who are you guys?
And don't Angela, like she just came back from vacation, don't she? She looks so cute but relaxed at the same time.
Yes. We're lacking sleep.
Right.
Yeah, we try to catch up. We try to catch up. Yeah. So before we get into the meat and potatoes and things of it all, go ahead, push all your buttons. Don't forget to like and the comments and do the subscribes and the notifications and all the things so that you can know next time we post and the stuffs like that.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Twee, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about how comparison can be a marriage killer. It sounds kind of harsh, don't it?
But no, it don't, because it's a straight Mr. and Mrs. Smith assassin type thing. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like I was just telling Twee that I'm glad that we're doing this episode after the retreat because we got to see and hear a lot of the stories from other couples.
Yeah.
Just kind of saying they kind of really thought that they were the only ones going through stuff, and because you see, social media be lying.
Yep, sure do.
It be lying, and it be like, oh, we're so happy in our marriage, and we're perfect, and our kids are perfect, and our house is perfect, and our life is perfect. All the while, somebody is getting knocked between the washer and dryer, and not in a good way, okay? And so when we see stuff like that, we start comparing like, dang,
I wish my marriage was like that.
I wish we lived in a nice house. I wish my kids were Stepford kids, like the Stepford wives. I wish our kids were Stepford kids. The stuff just ain't real.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not real, and it is a marriage killer.
It is.
It's a marriage killer.
And I think one of the main things too, as like feedback that I shared with the couples this weekend is like, it sounds so like beautiful and glorified to say, oh yeah, me and my husband get married for 20 years. We've been together for 26 years. And yeah, it is a beautiful thing. And it is something to be proud of and shout to the rooftops and thank God for. But what that's also saying is how much we've had to go through, overcome, learn, relearn, unlearn. Like there's so many trials and testimonies and things of growth that you have to experience. So when you see that couple that looks a certain way, you don't know what the heck they had to go through to get there.
Right.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And I don't think people really realize that.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how marriage can be something that you really got to put work into.
Yeah.
I don't want to say marriage is hard. It is hard, but I want to start reframe. Yeah. We on the same page, okay? But I don't want to say that it's hard.
Yeah.
It is, but it takes a lot of work. And we always say, what we say at the end, A good thing ain't hard to find, but it takes
work to keep it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, but you got to put some time and some work and some energy and
die to yourself.
Yeah, like you got to put a lot. Into not only your marriage but yourself as
That's
well.
Right. There's no room for pride and ego. There's no room.
It's not. It's not. It's not. And so with this of like comparing yourself, I just like had a thought. So like as we get older and we get to our own marriages and our own relationships and things like that, and we're thinking about what we learned growing up from our parents.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes we can start comparing our marriages to the marriage or relationships of our parents based on, I guess, like how good or how bad it was or whatever we witnessed?
Like, absolutely, because there's been times when I know when we've had like some challenging times, maybe based off how I felt when I wasn't maybe in the best space. And, I would tell my husband, like, I'm not gonna be like your mama. Or I don't want to be like my mom, because I can see the ways that I am like her. I can see the ways that she struggled. I can see the times that she might have felt like she was doing and putting in, which she was, a lot of the covering and the work when it came to us. And so because I was able to recognize that, I can see how I may be repeating some of those things, but I can also step by to see like, no, I don't want that. And so I'm going to make sure that I say it out loud first for me, but also for you, because maybe I've been operating in that for the last 5 years, not even really realizing this. So I'm standing here today to let you know I will not. I'm not going to. That's not what I want. So you recognize those things that you don't want, but it is a work. Because it's not as easy as just saying you don't want it. There's a work involved with doing it, because now you got to undo what's in your subconscious that you've been doing, especially if you have been doing it for the last 5 or 10 years, because now your partner is used to you doing that. So I can see the comparisons and just looking at those relationships, and it take a while to see what's being repeated through him, what's being repeated through me. Like, okay, let's take a step back, because we don't want to repeat those same cycles, so. Yeah. But you want to look at the good too.
Yeah, because it seems like even that, like, it's a mixture of the good and the bad. Because like I was just in my therapy session today, and I didn't cry real hard today, y'all. I was just a little missed. I'm proud of myself. But and she also brought up self-reflection. Y'all see how that works? Y'all see how that, because yeah. But but I was telling her like how when I decided, or when I thought about, like when I was younger and I thought about being in a marriage or a relationship or whatever, like I looked at the relationships that were around me. I didn't really compare and contrast, but I was very hyper aware of the behaviors, how they talked to each other, how they interacted with one another. Was it affectionate? Was it like standoffish? Was it aggressive? Was it hard? Was it, so like how were they? Just, in my view. And so as I got older and got into my own marriage and, started my own life, I was like, I don't want stuff like that. Not that, all of it was bad. But I didn't want stuff. I didn't want situations like that. I didn't want to have a bunch of arguments and no resolution. I didn't want to show my children, because you're gonna argue. You're gonna have some misunderstandings. Right. But I didn't want my children to be exposed to how my parents or my family members that I've seen argue or be in disagreements. I didn't want my children to see that type of disagreement with no resolution. Right. So Cortez and I make it a point to make sure that when we do like get like have some kind of miscommunication, like if they're around, because I'm not like intentionally like, hey kids, get in here and listen to us argue.
Yeah.
No, if they're in the other room and we have a disagreement or whatever, we're just kind of talking.
Yeah.
There's no yelling, there's no screaming, there's no cursing. It's just a disagreement.
Right.
And then they, might overhear because kids are nosy, but then they'll also hear us saying, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
Or now I understand where you're coming from now. And
Yeah.
I'll, work on trying to make sure that I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
That being said, after all of that goes on, I do tend to turn around and start a comparison. Just a mental, when I grew up, did I see them do that? What did I do in this situation?
Yeah.
I did better. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Like that's usually how it is when it comes to like, the other side of comparison, not just comparing on social media, but comparing to the family members and the people that were just in your life. Yeah. Making sure that if it's something good, seeing how you can glean from that over time. If it's something bad, like how do I stay away from that? Yeah. And comparing, like, did I do that when I did this or did I, so yeah.
And once you've been in a marriage for a while and you've been through some things, you've had to work through some challenges and stuff with your spouse, you can really take a step back and start to see how maybe that some of the thoughts that you've had getting into your own head about what you wish, what you desire, what you wish you had, what you wish y'all was just from a perspective of what you see other people see. And I mean, see or, display. And that's not to say that you might see something and just really
pause real quick. Oh, never mind.
Okay. How you might see something and like recognize like that is really a true desire of mine or something I've always wanted, or maybe something you haven't really been able to like express and say that you want it. And so now you're trying to express that need or desire to your spouse. But some of those things are just things that just happen to look nice and it'd be nice to have, not because you have a need.
Right.
And so I think there comes a time where you really have to like evaluate that and say like, I'm just looking at it because it just looked nice.
Yeah.
Or even is it about what was actually being done versus how that person is making the other spouse feel?
Yeah.
Like you could observe maybe the way the husband's making the wife feel by opening her door and making her or allowing her to be in a space where she feels soft and something. So it may not necessarily be the act itself, but you just like the energy exchange that you're seeing maybe between that spouse or something. So I'm just saying that to say like, you don't want to envy anyone just because of what you're seeing. Like if there's something that you desire, you just express that to your spouse. Like, I would love for us to be more in a space of this. I want to feel like this. I want to be able to do this for you, blah, 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 blah. And just express that need. Because again, like we said, it's not only about us looking at other couples to see what they're doing or getting and we're not. It's also about recognizing that everybody's season of things is different. And so you might just really be going through a tough, challenging season while you're looking at somebody else's great season. And so we're always going to have times of that high and low, that good or bad. And some of those things could really just be simplified with communication and conversation. That if maybe your spouse doesn't know that you want that because maybe that's not something that you put as a desire or a non-negotiable from the beginning. But now as you've changed, you've grown up, you like, no, I do want to feel like this. I do like this. And so, and that's normal. That's okay. Because you can change. You're going to change, So as you're healing and growing, things do come up that you didn't realize that was there. And so that's a part of that too.
Right. And that makes me think of, it reminds me of like just this past weekend, one of the wives had noticed, like we were calling them up for a session or lunch or something. Something we was calling them upstairs for.
Yeah.
But one of the wives saw another wife go to her husband and like tell him like, hey, it's time for whatever it was we were doing. And she was like, and she said it's so like soft and gentle. And she said that it was making her like think like, dang, I be
how do I talk?
Because I know I'm like, because Cortez was like, can you on Saturday, can you make me a pot of coffee? I said, I ain't your mama. I ain't doing you can do it yourself.
Right.
Because whenever I make coffee, Cortez always complaining it ain't good.
Yeah.
But I ain't doing that. You going upstairs.
Yeah.
But then some of the other wives are like, oh, I'm going to make my husband a pot of coffee. And I'm like, well, dang. Should I have made him a pot of coffee? Or should I have let him go do it himself and be a strong, independent black man?
But to your point, though, it's not because you didn't want to do it for him. It's like, well, it's been times where I did and you didn't like it. So, I mean, I just stopped doing it. Because I've had that too. Like, oh, so you want me to do it? Now, if you ask me to do it, I don't want to hear about you complaining.
Right.
Because I'm doing this.
You only put one scoop in there. I'm like, I just follow the directions.
Yeah.
Don't just say one scoop. But let me tell you something. I go to Dunkin'. I don't make coffee like that. I go to that place. I already said it and I ain't gonna repeat it. But I go there and I get me a cute little butter pecan iced coffee, 4 creams, 4 liquid sugar, cane sugars, and 4 of the sweetened. Y'all know, go try it. The medium. Don't do it in small. If you're doing the small, you got diabetes. But but yeah, like I felt I felt bad after the fact. But then I was like, but it's literally because other people in the house were drinking coffee. So it was a pot of coffee that was already made for the other people that was drinking. So I wasn't gonna be like, well, I'm gonna make a coffee pot especially for you, my man. Like, no, I don't do that at home. Like,
right.
You're usually the one that makes the pot of coffee. I'm not gonna make the pot of coffee. Anywho, but it just made me think about that. Like, it had me look at the approach like, I could have been softer, or I could have just been like, no, honey, I'm not, it's already a pot up there. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I went straight mama on.
Yeah.
Straight mama, and I don't want to be your mama.
Yeah.
I don't want to be your mama. So.
Yeah. I get it. That also makes me think about when you was talking about complaining about the coffee. That made me think about, because I think at one point we talked a little bit about gifts, and not to go off on the tangent or get off the subject, but me and my husband, you could tell he's a gift person, and we talked about this weekend about I don't know how we got into the conversation, but just talking about giving gifts in general. And it was a question about who gives the better gifts.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm like, shadow of a doubt, my husband, he is definitely the better gift giver. I'll do a gift, but there's been a few times now in our 20 years of marriage where I get a gift and he didn't really like it all the best. And so I'm like, well, that discourages me from wanting to get you a gift.
Right.
Because, say for instance, like Christmas, again, he's a great gift giver. There's a lot of thought behind his gifts, but he gives quantity. So he gives a lot. Whereas the gifts he requests are usually about quality. They're going to be more expensive gifts.
Right.
And I'm like, but I know he's going to want several gifts, but your several is going to add up to a lot more. So that means I got to get less gifts to get the ones you want. So then if I decide to make it, choose or get something else that might be similar or whatever, then it's like, that's not what I said, honey. That's not what I'm like, yeah, but I want to be able to give you a few gifts, so I had to make a decision, Yeah, we haven't resolved the gift thing yet. That's just one of the things we're still working on.
Yeah, Cortez is a bad gift giver. I'm sorry. It's like, oh dang, just put it in the cart or send me the link to it. No, because I verbally said it to you. Yeah. But if I want that gift, I'm gonna send him that link. So I mean,
right.
If I want me a new building block set, can't say no names. If I want me a new building block set, here's the link.
Yeah.
The exact one. You can pre-order it right now.
Right, man. But it's I think a lot of us started off with, when it comes to comparing other couples, what we've seen on TV, like the Cosbys, the Fresh Prince, Family Matters. At least those was mine. maybe even like, well, I don't watch Full House like that, but
Mm-hmm.
when I just think about like a family
Mm-hmm.
dynamic and stuff like that, I mainly think of like Family Matters and Fresh Prince,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they gave some pretty realistic um, views of what it
Yeah.
looks like, you know,
Yeah.
handling children and
Mm-hmm.
somebody forgetting anniversary. Somebody was always forgetting somebody's anniversary.
Uh-huh.
But you
Uh-huh.
know, that's the type of things that we had to go off on along with our parents. And you know, so some things we see are realistic, some of it is not.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave a lot of experiences for handling like trauma or picking up stuff from, you know, their parents coming on
Mm-hmm.
as childhood and stuff like that. But they gave some shows give you a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
example.
Moesha was a good one because
Oh
Moesha
yeah.
showed a blended family,
Mm-hmm.
and like I know, like I grew up in a blended family,
Yeah.
so seeing just the dynamics of everyone, you know, you had the kid that was like a oopsies kid that was a secret,
Yeah.
but you know he came into the family, and then you got the stepmom, and then you had things like that
Yeah.
that were a part of it's I don't want to say just only the black community, but
Yeah.
just it was good to see something that
Yeah.
looked familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
How the mom and dad, they had their ups and downs. And of course it was a different time. So men's view of things were very different,
Yeah.
especially in the 90s,
Right.
because men and women both saw things differently. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
as progressive as it is now, but seeing still those type of relationships, like it's
Yeah.
like, do I want a relationship like the parents on Moesha, or
Yeah.
something like how looking at the Cosbys with the Huxtables, they communicated very well, but
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
did have their disagreements.
Yeah.
They made sure to come back, and um, the what's his name? Bill? No, it was Heathcliff.
Yeah. Heathcliff. That's right.
Cliff, yeah,
Yeah.
Cliff Huxtable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how Mr. Huxtable, he would come, he would think about stuff, and then maybe talk to his dad or talk to a friend or something, then come back and talk to his wife, and it's like, yeah, I see how I may have hurt you. I see how I misunderstood.
Yeah.
So like seeing stuff like that,
Yeah.
it was healthy. It was healthy to see, because we don't really think about like we think about seeing the people on TV,
Yeah.
but the majority of the time when we're like reflecting and comparing and looking at relationships is who we see in real life action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and then we later think about like, oh, well, the Huxtables, they, solved it like this,
Mm-hmm.
or, the parents on Moesha, or even the Parkers, even though that wasn't a married, situation. It was
Yeah.
a single mom, but you still can see how that single mom made a way for her and her daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's a good point to make because, you know, we're not saying that that you should not be looking at people's relationships in a way that you can learn or glean on how to maybe approach certain things or communicate or handle or know that, you know, my situation doesn't have to look like this. I can see a view, light end of the tunnel type of thing where I can like, okay, well, we can work on things towards something based off the goal that you two have together that you want to pursue. But what we're saying is you still want to have a healthy level of viewing someone else and not thinking that you're just so much worse off than someone else because everybody's relationship look different.
Yeah.
But we do want to have healthy examples of what we could do, how we could handle what we could pursue or like, or what our dreams may be heading towards or things like that. So you do want those type of things because you always want to go.
Right,
You always
right.
want like a vision that for your family, for your marriage. And that does take looking at other examples. Just don't get set and stuck thinking that yours got to look exactly like theirs because you're totally two different people. You're not them. Your marriage is not them. Your background didn't come from them.
Right.
So, you know, don't think it's got to look just like that. Just use it as like a reference, a frame of reference. Like, okay, you know, just like she was saying about somebody saying about the wife saying how she answered her husband. Or we had another example at the retreat where we did an exercise with the couples, and a few of us noticed how patient and communicative one of the wives was when she was giving instruction. And so we were thinking like, man, like she's doing a great job. Like she's not getting flustered, she's taking her time, she's patient, she's saying it nice to. So that's not to say we envy their relationship. We're just respecting and acknowledging and seeing like, you know, she did that very well, you know. So let me make sure that I am in my own way as a wife being respectful and patient and kind and soft the way I am responding or speaking with my husband. Because the very way that I may be saying something could inflict the way he may respond to me and vice versa. So and
that was I thought that exercise was just beautiful.
It was
just very, like you said, patient and just like, oh, okay, you know. Or if it was like a switch up on like the left and right leg on the obstacle course, it was like, oh, I'm sorry, the other way, the other leg, or you know, just because of your way of communicating, you have to acknowledge when, oh shoot, I made a mistake, or I may have misspoke, or so we definitely this weekend, instead of comparing our marriages, we learned from each other.
Absolutely.
We saw, you know, how each other in each own way just handled each other's thoughts and feelings and cares, and you know, we all just kind of like witnessed the growth of everyone in the room. So there was no comparison. So we didn't have a bunch of marriage funerals. We had a bunch of marriage revivals. Some refreshing. Some refreshing. So that was pretty good.
Well, all right. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with Drizzy?
No, but I'm hungry. Y'all, we appreciate y'all for sitting here and yapping with us. We love to yap, just as you love yapping as well. Make sure that you follow us on all the socials. If you have any questions or just want to know more about A Good Thing, you can always visit our website at agoodthing.1. Like the number one, but spelled out. One. A good thing. One. A good thing. One.
Where two becomes one. Think of that. Where two becomes one.
Yes. Also, don't forget to click all the buttons that get you to keep coming back to us. We love you. We appreciate you. Hey, before we go, and before we get into our little tag, if y'all are ever feeling like you need some mental help, or just want to do some growing, some self-reflecting, and you just need someone there to help you work through that, don't ever be afraid to go to therapy. Therapy is good, and it helps us learn more about who we are and how we work just in our everyday lives. So we just want to put that out there and advocate for that. Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, before we get on out of here, like we always say, a good thing is not hard to find,
but it takes work to keep it.
Yes, it does. Don't you forget it. Until next week, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.